people are constantly raising the bar.
Sacrifices need to be made.
What would you guys say are your biggest weaknesses?
You are your enemy right now.
It's success of life.
Just a fucking podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the Student Side Hustle. This week I'm speaking to Arthur Green. Arthur Green is quite a well-known New Zealander, but I think there's a lot of things that people actually don't know about him. His focus on fitness and health is something that I really admire of him, because I think it's something that we do need to push a lot more, and I think if you focus on that, it can completely change your life. Art, how did you become so focused on fitness and wellness, and how did you get to where you are today?
Right. Well, so that's a pretty big question. So I think I might as well just start from the start. I grew up on a farm just north of Wellington in Martinborough, and so I've always been pretty outdoorsy, very active. Yeah, from the moment I could walk, I've sort of played every sport that I could. I then, throughout high school, PE was my favorite subject. I loved all the physical stuff. And, athletics day was my favorite day of school because, you could go to school, you didn't have to do schoolwork, and you could basically just run and jump and throw and do stuff all day. So for me, that was like my favorite day of the year because I was like a jock nerd. And then I also really enjoyed the whole study side of PE as well, and learning about the human body. So that translated into me going down to Otago and studying sports science down at the PE school down there, and sports science and exercise prescription. And that was probably four of the best years of my life doing that. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thoroughly enjoyed the whole what I was learning, but also the student lifestyle was incredible. And then following on from uni, I did a bunch of different jobs. Nothing, for the first couple of years out of uni, I did a whole bunch of different jobs that had nothing to do with my degree. And just got a feel for how, the working environment. And then I landed a job managing a gym in a mining village in Western Australia. So I packed up all my stuff and moved over to Aussie. And managed this gym in like 1,000-man mining camp in the middle of nowhere. And it was actually, for me, I ended up working there for about 2 years. And for me, it was completely, I guess it was kind of life-changing. I had it was basically the craziest job in the world. I would just, I'd look after this gym, clean it in the morning, do a workout, or do like a couple of workouts a day. Lounge by the pool, read a whole lot of books, then and then train all these miners at nighttime after they'd come back from the mines. And but what it meant for me was I had a lot of downtime to do a lot of reading and a lot of learning and a lot of relearning. So I everything that I'd learnt in university to do with nutrition, I just wasn't sure about it. I just found that there were so many different schools of thought on what people should be eating and what people should be doing, and this is right and this is wrong, and then on top of that I had these miners coming into the gym and asking me what sort of food they should be eating and all this sort of stuff, and my my response was like, I actually don't know. I studied this stuff and I honestly can't tell you. I don't know what's best. So what I did was I decided to kind of just try out a whole bunch of different stuff myself. So when I was in the mines, I worked for 4 weeks in a row out in the mine site. So like out in the in the middle of nowhere. And so we'd live on site for 4 weeks, and then I'd have 1 week off, and I'd go back to Perth or somewhere around Australia. I did lots of travel around there. But what I did was I treated each 4 week stint as a sort of short little trial experimentation period on myself, and I tried out lots of different diets and eating regimes, and also like exercise regimes and different things, and just to see how my body responded to different stimuli, I guess. So I started off I did like vegetarian for a month, I did raw food for a month, I did isogenics for a month. I did, because everyone in the mine site was into isogenics, which is it's kind of like the supplement regime. I thought, before I my gut was telling me, it's bullshit, like it sucks, it's not good for you. But then I was like, what, I don't actually know, so I got to try everything out before I can actually advise people. So yeah, I tried that. I tried like a ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
And then one of the last ones I tried was a paleo diet. And before I started paleo diet, I was like, oh man, this is like this weird caveman CrossFit diet where you eat a whole bunch of meat.
Yeah.
And then I started looking into it, and I was like, you know what? I really I believe in a lot of I guess the theory behind it from a biological and evolutionary point of view.
Yeah.
And then I also like the fact that I could pretty much eat most of the food that I still wanted to eat. And it was just like, it felt like it was just simplifying things and eating closer to nature. So you know, I did that one for a month, and then I just kind of never stopped after that one. That actually changed my life, and I started kind of eating that way, and then it just had all these flow-on effects. You know, I just had all this energy, and I started rethinking about the way that, you know, food affected me, and it just it made such a big difference in my life. So then, you know, following on from that, I moved back to New Zealand, and I joined in a business called Clean Paleo, which I still you know to run today. So that was 4.5, almost 5 years ago, and so came back, joined in with my buddies with that in that business, and at that stage we were just like, we had no idea what we were doing, to be honest. We were like, we had this like warehouse where we'd make food, we'd make some of our products in this like kitchen down the road, this cake bakery, and we'd like use it at night times, like make our cereals and stuff, and then during the day we'd like fulfill a couple of orders here and there, or otherwise we'd just play basketball on this, you know, basketball court we'd made. And then now it's, you know, fully transformed into a full-on business where we supply the major supermarkets here in New Zealand and also over into Australia, which is big for us. So so then I came back and I started doing that, and then I was like, so I was working away for being back in New Zealand for like maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years, and this opportunity came up to go on The Bachelor, or at least they asked if I wanted to do it, and I was like, I don't know, it sounds pretty weird. It's like totally doesn't sound like me. But I gave it a second thought, because I was like, you know, I'm kind of the type of person that believes in signs, and I believe in, you know, things happen for a reason, and it was just, you know, an opportunity that I think that if I didn't go for it, I just had the thought in the back of my head that I would always look back and think, you know, what if I had, or you know, so I thought, shit, you know what? Let's just go for it. And I had to, you know, I'm the nard about it for ages. I had to talk about it with my business partners as well, because I, you know, had to factor that in and think about how could this affect the business. Because of, you know, if I came across looking like a bit of a fuckhead, then then, you know, like it would be quite bad for the business. But I decided to go with it, and the whole experience was, on The Bachelor, was pretty intense. But and then the first like few months after The Bachelor was also equally as intense, but in like different ways. And then I guess like me and Matilda, who I ended up with on The Bachelor, and we just got engaged about 3 or 4 months ago.
Congrats.
So we're just unbelievably stoked, eh? We just can't believe that it's worked out so well, and just feel like we got so lucky, because the chances of it just I don't know, and we're like so perfect for each other. It's weird. So but it's also great. So so that all happened, and then what else? I guess after that, there's been quite a transition in my I guess my life. Like we sort of become public figures, which has been quite strange, especially, you know, first this kind of social media, like that changes, and you go from having a private account where you can post whatever you want and say whatever you want, to suddenly, you know, you say one little thing different, like you know, that's a little bit contentious, and then you know, you get a lot of hate, or you get people saying, you know, all this sort of thing, and so that's been a very quick and steep learning curve, and it's also been really positive. And I figured out that social media is, you know, a lot of people make it a, you know, full-time business.
It's like, it's pretty crazy how you've been thrust into the spotlight all of a sudden, and now it's like, do you find you have to focus more on managing the stress from that? Because like, as I'm just a student, I'm not in the public eye, like, I don't have all these like crazy stresses on me, but I still get stressed. How do you deal with stress, and like what are your sort of strategies that you think help you deal with it?
Yeah, right. So I've got this theory about stress that like everyone, like stress is so subjective, and everyone is at risk of being stressed no matter what their life's like day to day. So something, you think, you get stressed with university work or whatever. Yeah. I get stressed with different stuff. You think that what I'm doing could be really stressful. I might think, I was thinking about, because we had this landlord who was like telling me how stressed she was because she'd forgotten to, I can't even remember what it was, but I remember thinking like, that's such a not even stressful,
Yeah.
Like your life is not stressful at all. But then to some people, their lives are really stressful.
Yeah.
And it's so subjective. So like, I'm making a terrible job of explaining myself, but but there are definitely some things that I do to de-stress and to deal with it. So one thing that I've only started doing kind of recently is separating myself from my phone and just like disconnecting for like a few hours, or well, not a few hours, but like at least 1 or 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people might think, oh, that's not very much, but for most of us, I think when you look at it, like our phones are always on us. Our phones are in our pockets. I know that if I don't have my phone on me, I get a little bit anxious.
Yeah.
It's a total addiction, and the way that I sort of did a little bit of research on it, and the way that we scroll through different social media or different news and all sorts of different things, we're getting so much information just like firing into our brains.
Yeah.
That it's too much for our brains to comprehend. It's not what our brains were kind of designed for, and it's kind of just overwhelming our brains.
Yeah.
And there's also sort of some science that suggests that things like social media and and different like videos and things you watch actually produce the same signals in your brain as some forms of drugs and methamphetamine.
Yeah.
And it's just as addictive as those sorts of drugs. So I think, for me, like just switching off for like an hour or two a day is really, really important. I've noticed a huge difference with that.
Yeah.
And generally what I do in that hour or two is I try and do a little bit of meditation, whether it's like 10 minutes or ideally I kind of do like 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah. How do you go about meditating? Is that like you sit in a chair, or you just sit on like yoga positions, or how like?
Because that's like I find it really uncomfortable sitting cross-legged, just straight up on the mat. So I don't do that. I don't think you need to do that. The main thing is not about how you look or following this way. The whole thing is about being like completely relaxed in your own body, and it's about a relaxing exercise for your mind. So the way I do it is I generally just sit in the chair with my hands on my thighs and just kind of zone out from there. I go through stages of listening to an app. I listen to one called Headspace. Very useful. So I sometimes listen to that. I will sometimes just listen to nothing, but more recently, because it's been quite warm, I've been going down to the beach and just kind of sitting on some rocks by the beach, which is like early in the morning, which I find really cool. And then the other thing that is a huge stress relief for me is exercise. And I try and do some sort of movement. I don't really like to call it exercise because I think exercise has kind of some negative connotations. People don't look forward to exercising, but they look forward to sport, or they look forward to just being active. So I like to do some form of activity every single day. And for me, it's just, releases endorphins, just makes me feel great. It makes me feel like I'm doing something and I'm achieving something and I'm being productive. And for me, it's huge.
When it comes to exercise, something that I think is really important is I think people need to find their exercise that they love. Like for my whole life, I'm like quite naturally a good distance runner, but I hate going for long runs. I just hate it. But then weightlifting, like honestly, I could do that all day. I'd say I'm like borderline addicted to like weightlifting. What would you say? I just like, it's almost like I have trouble having rest days because it's like I have to skip that part of my day and I have to not do it, and it just feels strange and just feels like I'm missing out, or like I'm gonna slow down, or like I'm not gonna make progress. Do you have any tips for like sort of, especially with the phone thing, like slowing down and not being so scared? Because I know there's a big thing with like young teens and people in university. They're quite ambitious and they want to achieve a lot of things, but I think a lot of times, especially for myself as well, it gets to a point where you're stressing out more than you actually need to when it comes to success or being successful or being good enough or all those sort of things. How do you go about sort of grounding yourself and realizing that, making yourself not stress out so much about sort of success and all that sort of stuff?
And trying to like achieve what these people you see on social media look like they've achieved, or look like, you know, the things that they have. And I think that's huge. You know, I think that's it's really affecting, well, you know, probably the majority of people that look at social media, they're affected by that in some way. And it's, you know, I think it's not good. You know, you see just so many people just aspiring to be like these social media stars, and a lot of them are not real. Like, they're not portraying a real life, and it's not healthy. I don't think. For me, like, you know, I scroll through social media and I see a bunch of stuff that, you know, I'll see some guy. I was like, oh, he's got an awesome physique. You know, I'd like his shoulders, or you know, or something like that every now and then. But I think you just have to know and understand how fake social media is, and just have confidence in yourself, because you know, you're like, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what sort of advice I can give on it, but it's just, you just got to know that it's not real. A lot of it is just fake. I try, like, that's something that I've learnt quite a lot. I try to, with my social media, just basically post sort of stuff that's my own life. And if people want to follow, then that's cool. But I'm not out trying to be something I'm not. And I think it's important to kind of, I don't know. It's look, honestly, that's a really tricky one, but it's something I think people need to think about and realize that there are people out there that they're just not real. The
thing that I think is always quite difficult is having that genuine high self-esteem without egotism. Like, I read this great book by Ryan Holiday called Ego is the Enemy, and I love it because it's basically, the idea is like, don't be like cocky and don't be egotistical and realize that you're not Jesus, but like sort of keep in mind how you're enough, sort of thing, and it doesn't matter. And I think that's quite a good thing. What would be your sort of main habits and practices that you think keep you happy, healthy, and feeling good, like throughout the week or throughout the day, to either be productive or just happy?
So I guess, my habits would be, I like to get up early. I find that on days that I get up early, I feel like I'm like achieving something in the morning. I'm achieving more in the morning, and it's this weird kind of feeling where it's like, you know, and it sounds kind of lame, but it's like, you know, I'm better than all these people that are still lying in bed, kind of doing nothing, and I feel like I'm really achieving stuff. So I like to get up early, and I will either sort of write down what I want to do during the day. So I'll write down kind of basically just like a checklist. What sort of work I want to get done, and then also some form of exercise. I generally write down what I want to do for like some activity. And then I will either do the activity. I'll do my sort of movement in the morning. And then other stuff that keeps me happy would be, you know, I think nutrition is so big. So, but shit, I mean, for students, it's hard because eating well is so expensive. When I was at uni, you know, I ate terribly. I just lived off 2-minute noodles, and I'd make like 2-minute noodle omelets and just have cheese toasties, and
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I just had like your classic student diet.
Yeah.
And I was always slim because that's just my natural build. Is I was always slim, so I just thought I was always healthy. But it wasn't until I started actually eating real food, just fruit, veggies, meat, eggs, that sort of stuff, that I realized that I wasn't tired after I'd eat. And I just had so much more energy. And I think with energy comes positivity. And then with that positivity, I'm able to like kind of, infect that positivity on other people and maybe sort of like have some sort of impact on other people around me, which, and, in a really positive way, which then just makes you feel even better. Like it's kind of a selfish reason, but you feel good for making other people feel good.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I guess getting up early, having a little checklist, like planning my day, doing some sort of movement, and basically following roughly a paleo kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all those points, because the getting up early, when I'm not in uni, I find it very, very hard to get up early. But when I'm in uni, I'm in a routine, I can go to bed early, everything's smooth line, and I can just get up, feel great, and then you feel shit for like the first half hour, but after that, I usually feel pretty relatively good. What would be like, because one thing that I think a lot of people in my sort of demographic don't focus on enough is I don't think they surround themselves with enough quality people, and they try and go for quantity instead of quality, and it's this whole big problem. Same with social media, etc., etc. How do you go about figuring out who the quality and like not even giving, like they're not giving value, but they're giving just positivity, and that they want you to succeed, and that they want you to be happy? How do you go about finding those people?
Shit, I mean, that's really tough. You go on a show like The Bachelor, and then you see that, honestly, like I realized how valuable and how amazing my close friends were, because they really helped me through that, because it was quite a tough experience. But I mean, I guess you just gotta kind of step back and have a look at things, and have a look at your friends, have a look at the people that you surround yourself with, and see if they are really adding value to you, and if they're the sort of people that you want to be like. And if you think they've got great values, and maybe their values are similar to your values, then I think those are the sort of people that you want to be around. And you don't want to waste I don't think it's important to be around people that you think you just want to be around because other people want to be around them. So you want to be around because they're perceived as being cool. Like, I mean, fuck that. You don't have time for that. You don't need that. You just stick around the really great people, and the ones that you think, he's a really good guy. He'll go out of his way to help me out if I ever need it. He's always going to be there for me, or she. And they're the type of person that you're stuck at the airport, and who you're going to call to come and pick you up, and they'll sort of, it's late at night, and just got into bed, and they've got an exam the next day, but they'll still come and pick you up from the airport. It's like that are just really selfless, and those are the sort of people. But it takes you kind of ask yourself those questions.
And I think it's not like a simple, this person's good, this person's bad. I think it's a very complicated thing to sort of grasp, and a very complicated. Like, I don't think anyone can be perfect at it, but I think once you sort of get 90% there, then you're 90% there. What would be your main sources of learning for just learning from others, or learning from books, or learning from podcasts, or wherever you tend to go to learn?
I think throughout my history, like, university's been the greatest learning of my life, because not for the curriculum, but just from learning from other people, and that social learning. That was huge, and that's something that it's well worth the huge student loan. Just for that, like, I'd pay the same thing in and walk away with no degree, just for everything I learnt there. And then in terms of like continual learning, I read a lot. So I like to have, I generally have 2 books on the go at one time. And I have one sort of fiction, like a novel that's kind of easy reading, and it's quite fun. So I'll have a book like that, and then I'll have one sort of non-fiction book that I'm interested in, that I'm going to sort of, I want to burn. So I've written down the Ryan Holiday Ego's Enemy book because I'm going to read that next. And so I do a lot of reading.
Do you have any particular favorites or any books that have particularly moved you or impacted your life over the years?
Yeah, I have actually. A book called The Alchemist has it totally just made me think. I think I read it in a time in my life where I was sort of just in the place to really to take it on board and to just apply it to my life. So The Alchemist is a really cool book. It's a short book, easy to read. It's almost like a children's fable in a way.
Yeah.
But it really makes you think. It's a real book. So that one there, I think was quite had a deep meaning to me. And then other books include a nutritional one, which was called Grain Brain.
Yeah.
Which is all to do with grains and how they affect your brain. But it's like I don't know. It's just too many.
I think I've read I'm quite a big fan of audiobooks because I do a lot of traveling just to uni and from uni, and I've probably read like 50 audiobooks, but it's like I could name drop like 5. Like I don't know. Like it's What would be your main advice for the average student who wants to be successful? They want to have a not just monetarily successful, but like happy life and healthy life.
A happy and a healthy life. Okay. I think number one would be just don't stress about trying to be successful or trying to have money. And just do your thing. Like I think life is about finding out what makes you happy and what you enjoy doing, and then doing it and trying to positively impact as many people around you as you can. And then that's what will make you happy. Like I guarantee that's what's going to make you happy. You don't need, I know it's so cliche, but you don't need money, you don't need things, you don't need anything. You just need to kind of figure out what makes you happy and how you can make other people happy. And then I think that's as simple as that. And that's all you need to do. Yeah.
And where can people find you online, and where can people find Plate Up or Riot Foods online?
So to find me online, I guess probably my Instagram, which is my handle's what is my handle?
I think it's
art_green. I think art_green. Yes, that's my Instagram. On Riot Foods is riotfoods.com, and Clean Paleo is clean-paleo.com. And we've got a whole bunch of different foods and stuff on there, which is pretty cool that we make here in Auckland. And then Plate Up is our new business, which is healthy, ready-made meals delivered, and that's also that's my newest thing. We've been going for about 2 months, and it's taken up all of my time. But I'm really passionate about that one. That's really cool.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Student Side Hustle. I would appreciate so much if you would leave a review if you'd like to hear more of what I'm saying. Then I would love if you would follow me on Instagram or check out my other social media, all linked in the show notes. And again, I would just like to say thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful evening and study hard.